All right, it's about 10 o'clock the next morning, and my heart's beating really fast because I got scared from yesterday, but it seems to be working. So, just trying a proof of concept again. I got a 12-volt battery, a little 12-volt shop light, and I got that connected up to the bus bar that feeds the capacitor bank. And it's going, the battery is going through the light and then finally to the capacitors, and they're back down through that jumper cable back to the batteries. It's completing the circuit. And you can see here, if I can do this, I'm getting a slow charge. If I can keep the needles steady, I'm getting a slow charge on the capacitor bank. So the idea of charging it through a resistor, i.e. the light bulb, it's a 50-watt DC light bulb, is at least, I don't have any plastic melting, no smoke, I don't have any arc going on, so that may be the answer. Next step is to see if I can do it on a 48-volt system. I know it's a 12-volt light. I want to see what happens. It should be all right, I think. We'll experiment with that. But if that's the case, I might be in business. All right, thank you. All right, I'm about the 8-minute mark since I started charging the capacitors, and the light is significantly dimmer. And you can see up here on my voltmeter, I'm at 9.5 volts for my 12-volt battery. So that seems to be working out as planned. That's a 50-watt light bulb, so if I want to go a little bit faster, maybe I'll go down to maybe a 30-watt or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But I expect that to level off somewhere just over 12. My battery's reading about 12.8 or so on this multimeter. See here. Yeah, it's about 12.8 or so. So the probe's too steady, but okay. So I'll give you an update in a little while. All right, so after 10 minutes, I went ahead and turned off the light, and my battery, or my capacitor bank, is showing just at 12 volts. It really slowed down. The light got really dim. In fact, you can just barely see a little orange there at the end. The battery is reading 12.7, 12.8. It got really slow, so what I went ahead and did was disconnect the light and directly connected the battery to the capacitors, and there was no spark. You heard just a little fizz when it connected, but nothing big, and it immediately started counting up in the tens there, from 11.5 to 12 or so, pretty quickly, as opposed to having to go through the resistor here, the light bulb. So that was a success. So my next experiment is to see if I can run 48 volts through that light and see if that won't blow it up. I don't think it will. And then see if I can also connect that to the capacitors. We'll see how it goes. All right, well, that's a result. I connected 48 volts to a 12-volt lamp, and the element blew. So nice little spark from the terminal when I connected it, and there went the lamp. So that's not going to work. I'm going to have to find a 48-volt light bulb somewhere. All right, I'm back again with my next experiment. So in the last experiment, as you saw, I tried a 12-volt light on a 48-volt system, and it blew the element. So I thought I needed a 48-volt, which I probably still need to take a look for. But what I did get was a 120-volt regular AC light bulb, and hooked it up to a 48-volt system, and it works. Didn't blow it. And it's real dim, obviously, but it's working. So I went ahead and connected that to my capacitor bank. Now what you didn't see was it was at 12 when I tried charging it on just a 12-volt battery, and there's a balancing circuit boards in there with some resistors that brought down the voltage from 12 to about 11.4, 11.5 volts. And that's not a very accurate voltmeter there, but it's helping me keep track. So it dropped, and then I hooked up this 48 volt system to it, and because of the high resistance there, 120 volt, I think it's a 60 watt bulb, it's going very slow. But you can see it is ticking up. It's at 11.8 right now. And if I use the meter to show you, excuse all the commotion, but anyway, so I need some different types of clamps. But it shows a little bit better than the 11.8 that you'll see there. So that's working, but not ideal. I need to find still a better solution. At least I'm on the right track. All right, experiment complete. I tried. I originally had a 40 watt that I hooked up to 40 watt 120 volt hooked up to a 48 volt bank, and it worked. It was charging, but it was charging the capacitors at about 1/100th of a volt every minute. Extremely slow. So I thought maybe I can go down in wattage from the 40 watts. So I bought a 25 watt and then also a 15 watt. And honestly, I didn't really time it, but it didn't seem like it was any difference. It was still extremely slow charging it. So it would take an hour to do a volt plus or minus, and that would take forever. So I'm gonna keep trying. I think the next thing I'm gonna try is maybe a battery charger, and see if I can't plug that in, or maybe even find a 48 volt lamp bulb to see if that helps, because the volts is probably what is slowing me down here. So all right, I'll let y'all know.